Welcome to our cinematic story craft English learning YouTube channel. Today is very interesting story. My Vacation in America. This story is helpful for your English learning listening and speaking skills. So listen carefully and feel free and enjoy the story. My Vacation in America began with the thrill of anticipation as I boarded the plane. I had always dreamed of visiting the United States, and now it was finally happening. The flight was long, but filled with excitement as I watched the landscape change beneath me. As the plane descended, I caught my first glimpse of the New York City skyline, and my heart raced with excitement. Landing in JFK Airport, I was immediately struck by the hustle and bustle of the city. The energy was palpable, and I couldn't wait to explore. I took a taxi to my hotel in Manhattan, and as we drove through the streets, I marveled at the towering skyscrapers and the vibrant life around me. Times Square was my first stop. The neon lights and massive billboards were even more impressive in person. The crowds were enormous, but I was too captivated by the spectacle to care. I wandered through the square, taking in the sights and sounds, feeling like I was in the center of the universe. The next day, I decided to visit Central Park. It was a serene contrast to the chaos of Times Square. I rented a bike and rode through the park, enjoying the lush greenery and the peaceful atmosphere. I stopped by the Bethesda Terrace, where a talented violinist was playing a beautiful melody. I sat on a bench, closed my eyes, and let the music wash over me. It was a perfect moment of tranquility in the middle of the bustling city. From New York, I traveled to Washington, D.C. I was eager to see the nation's capital and all its historic landmarks. My first stop was the National Mall, where I stood in awe of the Lincoln Memorial. The statue of Abraham Lincoln was larger than life, and I couldn't help but feel a sense of reverence. I walked along the reflecting pool, taking in the view of the Washington Monument. The sight was awe-inspiring, and I felt a deep appreciation for the history and significance of this place. The Smithsonian Museums were next on my list. I visited the National Museum of American History, where I saw the Star-Spangled Banner and the First Lady's inaugural gowns. Each exhibit was fascinating, and I felt like I was taking a journey through America's past. The Air and Space Museum was a highlight for me. Seeing the Wright brothers' plane and the Apollo 11 command module up close was incredible. I spent hours exploring the exhibits, marveling at the advancements in aviation and space travel. After Washington, D.C., I headed west to the Grand Canyon. As I stood on the edge of the canyon, I was overwhelmed by its sheer size and beauty. The layers of rock told a story millions of years in the making, and the colors were breathtaking. I hiked along the south rim, stopping frequently to take in the views. Every turn revealed a new and stunning perspective of the canyon. I watched the sunset over the Grand Canyon, and it was a moment I'll never forget. The sky turned shades of pink and orange, and the canyon seemed to glow in the fading light. It was a truly magical experience. Las Vegas was my next destination. The city was a stark contrast to the natural beauty of the Grand Canyon, but it was no less impressive. The Strip was a sensory overload, with its bright lights, massive casinos, and throngs of people. I stayed at the Bellagio, and my room had a view of the famous fountains. I spent my evenings watching the fountain shows, mesmerized by the synchronized water displays set to music. During the day, I explored the various themed hotels and casinos. The Venetian, with its indoor canals and gondola rides, was particularly enchanting. I felt like I had been transported to Italy. I also visited the Luxor, with its impressive pyramid shape and Egyptian-themed decor. Each hotel was like a world unto itself, and I enjoyed getting lost in their unique atmospheres. From Las Vegas, I took a road trip to California. Driving along the Pacific Coast Highway was a dream come true. The views of the ocean were stunning, and I made several stops along the way to take pictures and enjoy the scenery. I arrived in Los Angeles, where I visited the iconic Hollywood sign and took a stroll along the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Seeing the stars' names embedded in the sidewalk was surreal, and I loved spotting my favorite actors and musicians. I spent a day at Universal Studios, where I got a behind-the-scenes look at how movies are made. The studio tour was a highlight, and I was thrilled to see the sets of some of my favorite films. The wizarding world of Harry Potter was a magical experience, and I felt like a kid again as I explored Hogwarts and Hogsmeade. My final stop was San Francisco. The Golden Gate Bridge was even more impressive in person than in pictures. I walked across the bridge, taking in the views of the bay and the city skyline. I also visited Alcatraz Island, where I took a tour of the infamous prison. It was fascinating to learn about the history of the island and the notorious criminals who were once imprisoned there. As my vacation came to an end, I reflected on all the incredible experiences I had. Each city had its own unique charm, and I loved exploring the diverse landscapes and cultures of America. It was a trip of a lifetime, filled with unforgettable moments and memories that I would cherish forever. As I boarded the plane home, I felt a deep sense of gratitude for the adventure I had experienced. America had exceeded all my expectations, and I knew I would return someday to explore even more of this incredible country. Comment your feedback, like and subscribe our channel.